Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about Class 2 and Class 3 elastics. I know this infographics is Class 2, but either way, same thing. Well, not the same thing, but same thing in this context. We're going to talk about if you should use buttons or slots and how that works and what things you need to adjust accordingly. And the feedback I'm giving you today is really just based on my own experience, what I've seen work, what I've seen not work. And I never learned it in any Invisalign class. I mean, definitely in talking to my colleagues, you always get little tips and see how other people do things. And then I've kind of extrapolated and had the fortunate experience of being able to take things that I did and extrapolate it to all my doctor clients, so almost exponentially, you get to see more outcomes than you'd ever see in your own lifetime with just your own patients, right? So I've found this, and a lot of times I come up with things on Invisalign or about Invisalign, and Invisalign steals the ideas, and then I've never heard them say it, and all of a sudden they say it, and they don't even give me credit for it. So I'm saying it now before someone else says it. Matter of fact, I'll throw it in a blog too. This is my idea. Maybe other people do it, but I've never heard anyone else say they do it. But anyways, so the standard kind of turnkey model, if you ask for Class 2 elastics with Invisalign, if you ask for that, you're going to get upper slots, which are built into the aligner, and lower buttons, which you're going to have to glue on the teeth. So the elastics are going to hook from the lower button that you glue on the teeth with the template to the upper slots, which are punched into the aligner. Nothing special you have to do there. Okay, so that's your standard Class 2. The flip or the reverse you get for Class 3. So Class 3, the standard that you get, unless you ask for something, it's kind of like going to Starbucks. You ask for a PSL, you're going to get the standard PSL. But you can have all kinds of modifications put into your PSL, right? You can have it with this foam, this other stuff, and everyone has their preference, right? But if you don't ask for something, you're just going to get the standard, right? Which is a tall with one shot, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Same thing with aligners. So standard, I explained standard Class 2. Standard Class 3 is the flip. You're going to have buttons on the upper 6s, which are 3 and 14. And you're going to have slots on the lower 3s, which is 22 and 27, right? It's kind of a hybrid thing. So you use moderate elastics or medium elastics, which are 4 to 4.5 ounces, 3/16 usually, sometimes 1/4. The problem that I have with that is most of the tracking issues that I see in most patients, unless you're really good at making an awesome clean check, are going to be right around in this area, which is usually around where the buttons are, right? So what happens when you have the button hooked to the tray and the patient's compliant is you end up having more tracking issues and more unseats, which is why I don't like to have any slots for my patients at all. The only time I would do slots is if my patient had already finished their aligners and we were just working on the bite. Then I'm fine with slots. I don't care. If I don't have to bond buttons. But if we're aligning at the same time, it's really important to me that I don't have a counterforce trying to pull it off, all day long, 24 hours a day, because that's going to affect my aligner seating, right? Can you kind of get what I'm talking about? So for that reason, I prefer all buttons, button, 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 no slots. And then I can use a heavier elastic, which is the 3/16 heavy, which is 6 to 6.5 ounces. 6 to 6.5 ounces. That's the elastic I use with braces. So obviously I was trained to do braces before I was trained to do aligners. So in my mind, I'm trying to do things similar and I know that they work, right? I know this mechanics work in braces. So let me extrapolate what I learned from braces to what works for me in aligners. So this is what works. I ask for all buttons, no slots on all my aligners, unless I've already finished all the alignment and we're just wearing a consistent tray with elastics to work on bite. In that case, I don't. And also the other trick that you might do as well, if you really want to be like extra strong, is I will often, I do this anyways with most of my doctor's treatment plans. I recommend they slow them down. So Invisalign says it's 15, I say it's 30, right? If I really want to do Class 2 elastics with slots and not buttons, like you're having issue with the buttons staying on or there's crowns or patients complaining about the buttons or something, they're uncomfortable, then I double the trades even more. Invisalign said 15. Normally I go 30 because I think their stuff is too fast anyways. Well, guess what? Now I'm going at least 45, 50 because I need elastics and I can't bond them to the teeth. So I need this to go real slow and gradual, and so that they can you know, right now, what's really important to me is just having the movements as slow and as predictable as possible if I'm going to be pulling the trays off with the elastics all the time, right? I don't want to go too fast because I know I'm going to get off track and I got to just do things like 3 times as slow. And, or you can tell the patient to stay in 14 days instead of 7. I don't quite think that does the same thing, but you could do a combination of all the above if you get the idea. So basically it still takes the same amount of time ultimately. It's just slightly less inconvenient, a little grosser for the patient, I think. But all right, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks.